Okay, so I want to take this opportunity to take a look at a few examples of switching a quadratic from standard form to vertex form. And I picked a few that sometimes tend to be tricky for students, and you'll see for obvious reasons why these might be a little more difficult. And the first one I want to look at is when you have an odd middle term, okay? So, remember our steps are basically we look to see, do we already have a perfect square trinomial? And of course we don't because of this, negative 10. So step one is we're going to move that to the other side, right? So in this case, we'd have to add the 10 to the other side just to kind of move it out of the way. So really just the strategy here is just to get 10 out of the way so we can just focus on what remains and to create our own perfect square. Now, the problem with this one and what makes this one difficult when I try to figure out what am I going to add to make this a perfect square, and of course then what do I have to add to the other side, the same thing, right, is because the middle term is odd. So how it works is basically you take whatever the b term is, right, in this case it's 7, divide it by 2 and then square it. So in this case that's 7 divided by 2 squared, and that means I'm taking 3.5 and squaring it. So 3.5 squared is 12.25. So what I'm going to be adding here is 12.25, and that means I have to add 12.25 to the other side as well. Now when I clean up this side, that turns out to be f of x plus 22.25. And then on this side, now I'm going to go ahead and factor this, okay? Well, even though I have this 12.25, and we don't normally recognize this as a perfect square, it is a perfect square because we got it by squaring 3.5. So again, when I go to factor this, I just have to take the square root of the first term, which is now x, the square root of the 12.25, which is 3.5. Remember, the sign comes from the middle, right? And then the final thing I have to do is subtract this 22.25 from both sides to get it back to vertex form, so it's solved for f of x. So that's f of x is equal to x plus 3.5 squared and then minus 22.25. So now my vertex is at negative 3.5 and negative 22.25. That's my vertex. Okay, so that does it for odd middle term.